Are you looking for a way to scale your short-term rental business and buy more properties? Well, co-hosting might be the right fit for you. Welcome to the Co-Host Coach podcast with Joe Roney. This episode of the Co-Host Coach is brought to you by Savvy STR Agents. If you're looking to buy a short-term rental, then contact the STR Savvy Agent team at savvy.realty.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Co-Host Coach. I am Joe Roney, and today we are going to discuss off-season amenity updates and where to put those money, because your owners may not have a big budget to upgrade their property during this off-season, but you've probably noticed they need it. And almost every property out there does. Even my own property, who we are crushing our year and going to exceed almost every goal that we set out, we're still actually probably going to invest another $2,500 to $3,000 this offseason to add a few minor touches that are going to make next year even better. So what do? You have an owner, you have a property that is, maybe it's down a little bit for the year, maybe it's average, or maybe it just, you took it over in the beginning and said, okay, we're going to upgrade this down the road. Well, now is the time to do those updates. Now is the time to plan those and get them done, because we're going into November, and that really gives you 4 months if you're a traditional summer market before spring break comes around. So, when you're actually looking at your property, what are the areas that are going to help make you the biggest impact, especially if you have an owner that has a very limited budget? It's hard. We've done updates for our owners before for as little as $2,500 and as much as $80,000, right? So we've had a big range of spectrum, and every, property, every owner, every situation is going to be a little bit different. How do you make that work within their budget to be able to make the biggest impact? So just want to kind of break that down a little bit today and just talk about my thoughts and my mindset on it and what I'm seeing in the market and in the industry, because that's really what's important. So we're going to kind of dive in right now. So hypothetical situation, you have a property that is, let's just say it's in a beach market. That's my area. Everybody knows I'm in a beach market, but this could be in a suburban market. It could be anywhere else, right? The number one area that you are going to make the biggest impact is going to be in your outdoor space. And I cannot stress this enough. You could have every single room designed to the T. You could have amazing murals. You could have all those great things. But if you don't have an outdoor space, you are going to be missing the boat. You're going to have people that are booking other properties because of the outdoor space. Obviously, at the beach, it is almost a must. You must have a pool, right? But is having a pool enough? Even in the Smokies, is having that indoor pool enough? Or, whether you're, wherever you are, is that enough? And the answer is no, because there's a lot of properties that have pools, right? I mean, we see it all the time. You look at MLS photos and you look at the backyard and you see a pool, maybe a little patio set. That's about it. Maybe they have a seating area. So some of the things that we've been doing that we're seeing a huge, huge impact on is adding different outdoor amenities. And we're going to talk about what each one of those are, because they're all a little bit different. They all have different budgets. And again, you have to talk to your owner and find out what type of budget they have so you can see where you can make the biggest impact. Okay. So in our outdoor spaces this year, the couple things that we've seen make the biggest impact, number one is adding turf. And turf with putting greens, and actually turf with putting greens with like the bricks in the turf, right? So everything's all about that photo. So, I talk about all the time, what is your scroll stopping photo? When we're in a world of scrolling, they're scrolling. What is that scroll stopping photo that's going to make them stop and look at your listing and scroll through other pictures? It's got to be that outdoor space, and it's got to be something that really looks great, right? So adding turf, adding those bricks with the turf, adding a putting green. The last 3 properties, we've actually added pergolas with a seating area underneath the pergola with curtains. It looks really inviting. And you remember, we talk about this all the time. the mom or the wife is the one that's doing the booking most of the time, and they're thinking about themselves, right? If they see this great backyard in full sun, they're thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be sitting back there with the kids for hours in that blazing sun. Oh, let me look at another property. But when they look at our newest properties and they can be like, I get to sit underneath that pergola in the shade and read a book while the kids are jumping in the pool, that looks amazing, right? And that is making an impact. We're already seeing it in the ones that we did earlier this year. And we just finished another one most recently. And we have 2 more to go that we're going to be adding before we get going into 2026. That pergola, and it could be a pergola, it could be an area, a lounger area that's underneath shade. It could be a gazebo. It doesn't matter what it is. It gives them a space. We put string lights underneath or around it. It gets to that evening ambiance, and it makes for some really great pictures, right? So we're enhancing their outdoor experience by not being in the sun the entire time. You know, most parents are not always getting in the pool. Yeah, they're going to go swimming, but a lot of times they're going to sit out, maybe have a cocktail or two and watch the kids and let them be. So having that space for them is a huge, huge win. I talked about the turf already. You know, artificial turf, especially the ones that are pet friendly, and you can have an area for the dogs to go. You obviously have a fenced in yard. And again, we're doing the turf with the bricks. You can do the turf without. It's a little bit more expensive. We just got done with a full backyard, and I think all in the turf with bricks was around $11,000. It wasn't awful, right? It was, don't get me wrong, it was expensive, but it wasn't, you know, there are some turf companies out there that could easily charge $30,000 to $50,000. Make sure you shop around. Don't just call one turf company or one landscape company. Shop around and find out what they're doing. But they're going to come in and they put dirt and sand and screenings down and compact it down really nice to where it stays very sturdy and doesn't wash away. So that turf, those putting greens, and of course, you know, anything else you can add, cornhole boards and Connect Four and, you know, ladder golf or whatever it may be, right? And then the second part of this is when you get done with these outdoor spaces, get those lifestyle photos of somebody using that, right? It's one thing to show a picture of cornhole boards. It's another of picturing a husband, a wife, and 2 kids throwing bags. Excuse me. So, you know, get those lifestyle photos. They really, really go a long way. We're actually looking to add lifestyle photos in about 4 different properties during this off season that I think are going to make a really big impact into our revenue going into 2026. Kenny Bedwell said it, you know, the top 10% of homes in Airbnb nationwide have lifestyle photos. That says it all. Now, that being said, people that are putting lifestyle photos are also people that are investing in their properties, so they probably have the top properties anyway. The lifestyle photos take it over the top, okay? Second area for you to take and put it in your home to be able to make an impact during this off season is going to be that extra space, you know, that extra living room space, whether it be a game room or just a nook that you can add some arcades and something fun for the kids to do. You know, if you have a house that only has one living space, then in that one living space, that has all the adults, all the kids, all the teenagers, all in one space. So, you know, when I'm helping investors find new properties, I'm helping them find properties that have that extra space, that have that extra, you know, area for those kids. And if you have that, do something with it. Don't let it sit there with just a couch and a TV and say, kids space, this is great. Put the hanging arcade games, put the Connect Four on the wall, put the, you know, add different, you know, whether it be a PlayStation or whatever it may be that you can lock up. Do different things that are going to make an impact. But remember, you got to have the photos to be able to market it, because if you have it in the property, nobody knows unless they see a picture of it. Nobody's reading your description, right? We all know that by now. Yes. Do you need to have a really good, great description in your Airbnb? Yes, because once a person does decide after they read all the photos, they're going to find out a little bit more about the property. They might actually read your description. But most people aren't touching your description until they're deciding if they're going to book your property. So just saying, I have this in your description is not telling anyone. You have to have that photo to show it. So investing in your interior, a couple other quick things. Investing in the game room, right, can make a big impact, right? Those are the two areas that I'm seeing that are going to make the biggest impact. In that outdoor space, if you don't have a hot tub, I'll always, in almost every situation, including the beach, a hot tub is going to add value. Barrel saunas, if you're in the mountains, obviously that's a huge win, but not just to have a barrel sauna, having that barrel sauna with a view, putting it out there to make it, something that's enjoyable than just going to sit in there for 20 or 30 minutes. So, you definitely want to make sure you're marketing all of this stuff in your pictures. Want to talk about next step, which is low budget, right? Let's say you have an owner they only got $2,500. What are you going to do to make an impact in that property for $2,500? And let's say you don't have an outdoor space. You're in a cabin community. We have a few of these where we don't have an outdoor space. So all we can do is what we have in our four walls. And in that situation, that's where you're going to invest in your bedrooms and make them look really great. It could be wallpaper murals. It could be adding accent walls. Most importantly, adding bedding. 5 to 7 decorative pillows, a nice decorative blanket, 4 usable pillows. Make those beds look inviting. If they look like if your Airbnb has beds that look like a hotel bed, which is blanket and 2 pillows, you are not winning at this game, right? Those properties are not getting booked the way they're going to get booked if you go in and make a designer looking bed. And you can make that designer looking bed for about $300, $400. You could do $500 a bedroom all in and do a quick, painted accent wall and some updated bedding for your owners, right? And this could be for your personal property too, but that's low budget things that are going to go a long way. We had 2 cabins that we took over originally, and I've talked about them before. We didn't have a big budget in the beginning, and we don't have an outdoor space. So we went in and we changed the bedding, we changed the patio furniture, we did a few things. We were limited budget, but we increased revenue by $20,000 to $30,000 by making those minor changes because we stood out from everybody else when we did it, right? So we were in a community of 100 of the same unit. We made ours stand out, and they look better because of it, and they're performing better because of it. So, if you're looking at we are in Q4, right? We have 2 more months left of the year. We're towards the end of October now. We don't have a whole lot of time to make these updates going into 2026 because the summer booking season is right around the corner. We're going to start getting those summer bookings right after Christmas, maybe even Christmas Day. Honestly, I've gotten 3 bookings this week for next summer already, and we have our pricing going, and it's going really, really well. So really, really, really important that you look at your properties, figure out what it is that you can do with your owners to make an impact going into 2026. And even if you did updates last year, what can you do this year? We always have to be improving our properties. We talked about maintenance a few weeks ago. Yes, you're going to have to go in and do maintenance. Yes, you're going to have to go in and paint. Yes, you're going to have to go in and have the handyman take care of light fixtures or whatever it may be. But what are some impact items that you can do? And then on top of all that, you're going to have to get new pictures because once you make these changes, don't just use your cell phone. Call your photographer. Now, you may not go Andrew Keller level. Love you, Andrew, who is one of the best photographers, or Sam Hunt, who are some of the best photographers in the nation when it comes to short-term rentals, for just an update with 1 or 2 areas, but you can get better than normal real estate photography. You can call your local really good photographer and get some great pictures. So make sure you're thinking about that going into this slow season. It's really important. If you want to make an impact in 2026 and be in that 90th percentile or better, you got to be investing in your property this off season. That's all I got for this week. I'll tune in next time, and I'll see you then.